Hotty toddy, Ole Miss fans, and welcome to the Brad and Chad Show, an Ole Miss Network production, brought to you by Blue Delta Jeans, made in the USA. This is the show by and for Ole Miss fans, where you'll get expert insight and analysis on Ole Miss athletics. And now, here are your hosts, former Rebels Chad Flowers and retired NFL star Bradley Sowell.
Podcast time.
SEC play begins. It is Kentucky week. Bradley, I cannot be more excited.
Yeah, going to be a big week. Going to be a fun week. Finally, the real season starts, so to speak. So, speaking of the real, we had the real season start, and we need a real check-in on your pig. We have not checked in on your pig in a couple episodes. I feel like now's the time for. Is he up to 200 pounds yet? I know he's 160 last time. It's been 2 weeks. Is he up to 200 pounds yet?
I was out of town all weekend. Like I said last week, I was in Columbus, Ohio. My parents flew out to watch my child, and I guess my animals as well. I received several reports from my mother that my pig tried to bite her. So, the love-hate relationship is mostly a hate relationship at this point. I'm sure there's love from someone towards this animal, certainly not me at this moment. But I thank you for continuing to open this wound every week where I have to talk about this animal, Bradley. I greatly appreciate it.
It's some week maybe we'll have some good breakfast,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm sorry to PETA. I did not say that. I apologize.
we definitely do not need them on our bad side. Glad you could bust out the collared shirt today. We're trying to keep it very informal today. That's really good for us. I appreciate that, Bradley. We do have a dress code I'd like you to adhere to. Maybe next week we can straighten that out a little bit.
Hey, just softball team. Maybe I'm about to go coach some softball. You never know.
Shameless plug already for your softball team. Who y'all have this weekend?
We're playing on the team. Let's see, we're in the Madison team this weekend, and we're playing another Madison team. So we are not on the Oxford team this weekend. We're staying in Madison. So trying to, maybe that tournament gets canceled. Maybe it does. Maybe it doesn't. I'm thinking it needs to get canceled, but we'll see. I'd like to make it to the Kentucky game, but I can't be that dad. So we'll see.
Okay. All right. And so I imagine that, your girls are going to put in a good 40 hours this weekend. So good luck to them, and hopefully they can stay loose and stay hydrated.
At 9 years old, if you're not putting in 40 to 50, you're not ready, it's just unbelievable.
That's fair. That's fair. Okay. So it's our midweek show. And what that usually means is we're going to be talking the upcoming opponent, which we've alluded to several times is going to be Kentucky. SEC opener. Saturday, ESPN, 11 o'clock Central Time. Going to be really exciting. Do have a lot of things, though. Before we get into Kentucky, there's been a lot going on with the Rebels this week. So let's start off with some accolades, right? So last week we had Nick Broker, offensive lineman in the week for the SEC. This week we have some more awards. Quinshon Judkins, star freshman. He was named a co-SEC Freshman of the Week. Here's some highlights of him against Tulsa this past week. 140 yards on 27 carries. He's got a 100-plus all-purpose yards in 3 of his 4 games. He now is tops in the SEC with 5 touchdowns on the season. He's really helping that Ole Miss running attack, which is first in the SEC and 4th nationally. And so the video you're seeing here is just him continuing to do what he's done all year, and that is run wild. And he did that against Tulsa as well.
Yeah, man, he really fits our scheme well. He hits it. He can put his foot in the ground and hit it backside on his own. He hits it on the counters. He really fits the scheme well for what Lane wants. Can catch the ball well. And just running with a chip on his shoulder. If you look at the clips we just showed, but 2 different run schemes. One was a quasi gap scheme, so to speak, and he just takes it right out the front door, the way it's designed versus that 3 down and just hits it. It was a good run. It was okay block decent. But hey, he makes one cut and gets up the field and he gets extra yardage there. And then, down there on the goal line, it's just basically like a whack play. They bring the guys in the box, the two guys come in the box. We're kind of short a guy. And honestly, that wasn't blocked, great. That Tulsa actually had it scoped out, but wide receiver gets a hat on the DN and Judkins just hits it. Our O-line's doing fine, but he's making some of these runs just based off sheer talent. I mean, so some of these runs, I mean, they're 8-yard runs that are turned to 20 and 30 because the way he is, the way his vision is and the way he's actually run the ball. So, man, awesome freshman. I mean, he's keeping up. This week will be really cool to see. I'm excited to see him versus SEC opponent.
Yeah, and especially we don't know the status of Zach Evans, right? And so he may be a even bigger focus for the Rebel offense come Saturday. So that will be really interesting to see. Now, the other big news, which I'm sure has a lot of people on one side or the other, national news was made by the Rebels with the unveiling of a new helmet design that is going to come into play on Saturday. So Ole Miss is partnering with Realtree. If you're not familiar, Realtree was founded by Bill Jordan. He was a wide receiver for the Rebels in the 1970s. And so I'm sure there are a lot of older fans who didn't even like the baby blue stuff that we're incorporating. I don't understand why it's a big deal. I think it's kind of cool. I'm not a camo guy. I'm sure you probably gathered that by the fact that I own a pig and I live in California. So, camo is not part of my everyday attire, but it's something different. National media is talking about it. It can only be good for the program.
Yeah, where are you at? Let's just open up the uniform discussion. Okay, you get two different crowds. You got the traditional,
yep.
I want the gray pants. I want the red jersey with the blue helmet, with the navy helmet. Where are you at? We've never actually even discussed it. Where are you at uniform wise?
Bradley, they could broadcast reruns of the Big Bang Theory on the sides of our helmets if it meant that we were getting money from someone, right? College athletics is an arms race. And you have to have money. It's not the NFL. It's not where there's going to be a salary cap. Athletics needs money. And so if you've got someone with relatively deep pockets, at least compared to me, in the people at Realtree, and they're willing to make it kind of look cool, especially for recruits, the players I would imagine are going to love playing in it. I don't care what we look like as long as we're winning, man. That's just kind of where I stand.
Well, listen, and I'm glad you said that because listen, I was the opposite at first. I was your old school, like, why are we messing with the uniforms? But as you dig into it, man, that means something nowadays. These recruits,
Yes.
swag or whatever, so to speak, and sometimes you have to put down your personal preference and do what's best for the school. And what's best for the school is that they are innovative. They're going with the time change. And when we have big games, cool. Bigger games, whatever. Let's get in those reds and navies and let's look traditional. But there's now, man, people want the uniforms sell, facilities, uniforms.
Yep.
In any kind of way you can generate money for the school. I'm the same way, man. I used to hate it, but now I'm like, you know what? It's Ole Miss. It's about the name on the helmet. It has nothing, but the way it looks, it is what it is. That's just how you have to do it now. You really do.
And I would imagine that there were tons of merch sales with, if you watched Lane's press conference from earlier this week, and we're actually going to show a clip of that in just a little bit. You'll be able to see it in that video if you're watching us on YouTube. I was seeing that people were complaining that it was sold out. So that thing was selling really fast at the, I forget the exact website where you can go and buy it. I believe it's OleMissAthletics.com, but don't quote me on that. But people were wanting it. If it gets excitement, if it gets merchandise sales, if it brings in money to the athletic program, I'm not going to complain.
Yeah, more so now than ever with NIL.
Yes,
we are already. I don't want to say we're not behind by any means, but we are not in the same market as Texas A&M, and some of these other teams that just have bigger, more resources. Where we got to do what we got to do. If a Realtree is one of our big donors, whatever, big Ole Miss fans, then we have to play off that. We really do to try to stay up in NIL and I'm pretty sure they're a big player in it for us. And that's the world we're in now. You have to stay up to date on NIL, and those guys are certainly a big part of it.
This might have been a little bit before, or you might have been a little bit before this, but did y'all ever get to wear anything different or retro uniforms or anything like that? Maybe you did on the NFL side of things.
We did one time. When we played Auburn at home, we wore those all grays, if you remember.
Oh, I do. Those are terrible, dude.
Yeah, Cam Newton's, that was like his campaign where he was unreal.
Yeah.
That was the one time we ever made a change when I was there, and it was like a big deal. We came out in our regular uniforms, went in and changed to the all grays, and at the time felt crazy that Ole Miss was different. So we still got whooped, but we did get to have a little fun with it.
That's cool. That's cool. Okay. Now, some other news regarding the game. We've seen a lot of talk about attendance. Well, good news is the game Saturday is sold out, right?
Yeah.
Which I think you and I both expected. Ole Miss fans are going to show up for the big games, like it or hate it. They do show up to SEC games, and while the attendance wasn't great, according to Lane Kiffin, it was Tulsa. Yes, the game wasn't great in terms of how the Rebels played, but it does appear that we're going to have a full vault on Saturday against Kentucky.
Yeah, man, we'll have to. Do we have the clip? When are we playing the clip of him?
I'll set it up here for you. So you actually sent this to me. This was Bradley doing a little bit of producing here. So you had some not issues, but you had some kind of things you wanted to talk about regarding Lane talking about the attendance. So why don't we go ahead and run that, and then I'll kind of get your thoughts from it.
Sounds good.
Again, we utilize any situation to teach our players, and so talk to them again, which we have before, about, hey, regardless of what you come out to before the game or halftime, when you come back out and you run out the tunnel and it looks like, a high school game playing in a college stadium, you can't let that affect you. I mean, there's psychology to that, obviously. There's a home field advantage for a reason. And, when it goes the other way, and you kind of have that feeling, that, man, are we still really playing in a game here? The players have to fight that. So, again, we use that as a learning lesson for our guys. So, if that's the case, that's the case.
So that was from Lane's midweek or earlier this week. It was not on Saturday after the game against Tulsa. This was Monday, I believe, where we had this. And so, Bradley, you had some specific thoughts about this this quote from Lane. What were you thinking?
So here's my thing. Like, okay, we get it. The attendance has not been great for the lollipop games. Okay. Mm-hmm. But why? See, here's my question. Why do we keep, I don't understand what he gains from doing that in the press conference. Cause you're essentially recruiting against yourself.
Right.
My opinion. And I understand now, I agree with him on a lot of levels. But there's also a whole economic thing going on right now as well, that you don't want to be tone deaf to. There are certain people that literally cannot afford to do it. And, a lot of it is some of our base fans. So, why keep putting it out there in the media when you're just recruiting against yourself? If I'm Mississippi State, or if I'm one of these other schools, and a recruit comes to school and look, hey, Ole Miss can't even get their fans to come to the game, and their head coach is saying as such, so I do agree with what he's saying. It isn't ideal to come out and to a stadium that's empty. It's definitely not inspiring ball, but these first couple of games, stop playing them, stop putting these crappy games on the schedule.
Yep.
And more people will come, or more people will splurge. If I have a certain amount of money and I can only come to 3 games a year, do you think I'm choosing UCA or Tulsa? No, you can't. Like, they're going to save it for the big games, and you'll see this week that they will show up. The fans will be there and be loud, and as will Alabama, as will Auburn, as will Mississippi State. It is what it is. These crappy games, they are what they are. They're not ideal for everybody, and they're not overly cheap to come to. So, no. I get what Lane's saying, but he's got to quit recruiting against himself. I mean, he keeps putting it out there, like him saying something in a press conference is going to make fans come.
Right.
They have picked out what games they're going to come to, and it is what it is. Like, let's move past it, and hopefully it does get better.
And I'm sure he knows this, but I was actually reading a study that came out in February. College football attendance is the lowest it's been since 1981. It's not just Ole Miss; it's everyone. I saw pictures of games at Jackson State this past weekend, Mississippi State. Especially with the weather that it was and the quality of opponents that you're seeing these teams play, I'm going to pick and choose my battles because of the time suck that it can be and the amount of money that it's going to cost. And this is the 7th straight season with a decline in attendance. And you can thank TV partners where you're getting a lot of your money. I'll sit in an air-conditioned house with a cold beer in my hand, and I'll watch football, and I can flip around to another game when you're up 40-0 in the third quarter, and I don't really want to watch it anymore, right?
Yeah,
I mean, it's hard to convince me to go through the trials and tribulations of navigating a smaller town in Oxford that sometimes it doesn't feel like can really handle the crowds that are coming in with the infrastructure that it has, and then having to deal with the people on campus, finding parking, and trying to get back home. I understand that the team needs, a good atmosphere, but it's not as simple as just saying, come to the game.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. And the at-home experience now, I mean, technology is so crazy now, like you're saying. I mean, it makes it where people on these smaller games are saying, hey, I'd rather stay at home and watch this. If it's a blowout, I can go to another game. And I'll save I'll do it big on my 4 games I can come to, my 5 games I can come to this year. And I'll cut back on going to the smaller ones because it's, it's expensive. It really is. And that they feel like they can have a better experience going to an SEC game and maybe saving some money for that, so be it. It's just tough. If you don't like it, cut them out. Stop playing the crappy games.
Yep.
Stop playing them.
And last thing I'll add to this, it does feel like, at least from what you're seeing in the reports in the media, the SEC will go to a 9th conference game, which will help attendance, right?
Yep.
I much prefer watching and going to the SEC games compared to the non-conference. So hopefully that is the way that the new scheduling is going to go once Texas and Oklahoma join the conference. But we'll see, right? There's still some, I'm sure there's still some politicking going on all fronts about what's going to happen there. Okay, so let's talk now, before we get into kind of our Kentucky preview. I didn't even realize that we're already a third of the season complete, right? We've already played 4 games. We only have 8 left. Why not talk just a little bit about some of the bowl predictions that we are seeing for the Rebels right now? And, you sent me some kind of notes for today. And the one about this, I was kind of surprised and shocked because you had found one where they had us playing in the Liberty Bowl. Were you looking at CBS? Yeah. Is that where you found that?
How my text, we obviously can't quote it, but I was super offended by that. I mean, we're 4-0, top 15, looking pretty good, and you're going to project us to the Liberty Bowl? What do they know that we don't know? Are they watching the games?
Right.
Liberty Bowl? Like, come on. Put some respect on the name, guys. Let's go.
It feels like it was a very big overreaction to Tulsa. And yes, we haven't played anybody, but come on. I mean, and I love Memphis. Memphis gets a lot of bad things said about it. I enjoy Memphis, but Liberty Bowl is not really where I want to spend my holiday season watching Ole Miss. And I found some other predictions, some better, some about the same. Sports Illustrated has us going to the Music City Bowl, which is kind of underwhelming as well against Minnesota. USA Today did project us to the Sugar Bowl, but it's against Oklahoma State. I feel like every time we play in a big bowl game, we're playing against Oklahoma State. It always feels that way.
I know. I mean, maybe they know something that maybe they see something that we don't see. Maybe they see our schedule and think we haven't played anybody. I don't know. But, I mean, just look at it. If we win this weekend, which, after looking at it, I feel decently okay about it. We likely win the next 2. That's 7-0.
Yes.
Do they think we're going to fall all the way to the Liberty or the Music City Bowl from there? I don't know. I mean, that'd be a drastic drop off of the team. So, I'm not feeling the Liberty Bowl. Now that offended me. I had an email halfway typed up. I was like, do you jackwagons actually even look at teams and do your job, or are you just throwing stuff out there? That kind of made me mad. Now, come on now, Liberty Bowl, we ain't. I
can just picture your big body behind a keyboard, just angrily typing out a letter to someone about that. So thank you for that visual. Did you as players, did that stuff ever get to y'all? Now you might not have played on many teams where you had bowl projections like this. You mentioned the Auburn season where Cam ran all over y'all. But did bowl projections get to y'all? Did y'all pay attention to any of that? I know it's always a cliche to say, no, we don't care about that. But did y'all really?
No, I don't think players really don't pay attention to that kind of stuff. I wouldn't think. Even if you looked at it, you wouldn't put much into it because you know your team, you're on there. Like, you have just a totally different feel than a fan feels. Like the way I feel about Ole Miss and the way, like, my vision of the team is nothing compared to the players and the coach's actual vision of the team. They know their actual strengths. They know their actual weaknesses. they're looking ahead. They know who they have coming up. Like you have to, the only way to know what your team truly is to be in the locker room and to be around the team. And that's the same way with players, man. Like people always have opinions of players like, oh, this guy should be playing. Well, you don't know because you're not there every day and you don't see how his actual attitude and his preparation is all week. So that's why a lot of times I try to limit, hey, so-and-so should be playing, but just because you don't know. I mean, you're not around him all day. You don't see the actual mistakes. You don't know what situations that he can or can't do. And it's the same with the team. If you're not around them, you don't really pay attention. A fan, you pay attention a lot more than what the actual player would when it comes to projections, because you kind of know inside, like, hey, we're probably good enough to beat this team. Hey, we're probably this team's going to be tough.
Now, I guess if they were going to the Music City Bowl, one of the nice things about that is you are in, the city of country music, right? And one thing about country music is, our friends at Blue Delta actually have a pretty nice gig coming to Oxford on October 14th. I'm getting really good at the live reads, Bradley. I'm sure you can tell I've been practicing this. So our friends at Blue Delta are hosting Mustache the Band at the Lyric on Friday, October 14th. So that kind of coincides with Square Jams. The basketball team will be at the Square. We host Auburn that following Saturday. So you'll be able to come out and support the Rebels on Friday night and then Saturday. But in between that, you can go to the Lyric and listen to one of the world's most powerful 90s country party band. And have you heard? I'm music ignorant, Bradley. Have you listened to Mustache the Band before?
I have listened to Mustache Band. One of our tailgate members, Ken Edwards, was the lead singer. I know he may be retired now, but he is a live member of Poe's Catfish Shack. So. Yeah, he is. I actually went twice. I thought he was kidding with me. He told me he was a singer, and I went and watched him, and he was actually pretty good. So yeah, it's a legit show. Like these dudes are awesome.
Yeah, and ticket packages are on sale now. To book, all you have to do is just DM Blue Delta on all their socials, or you can visit bluedeltajeans.com/afterparty, and that way you can get your reservation. I believe there's an open bar as well for those of you that are interested in doing that in Oxford, which I imagine everybody is.
I love it. So how are we going to transition to the next one? We're going to say, oh, if you get tired that night, you got to go home and sleep.
Well, instead of country music, another very popular form of music in the South is bluegrass. And what state is known for its bluegrass, Bradley? Well, that would be the University of Kentucky, whose Ole Miss is playing this week, right? So let's talk the Wildcats. As cheesy as that lead-in was, right? That is kind of the point of our Wednesday show, is to talk about the upcoming opponent, who is Kentucky. They've played Florida at Florida. They beat Florida. Swamp is never an easy place to play. Other than that, they have had some pretty lackluster games. Miami of Ohio, Youngstown State. And then this past week against Northern Illinois, where they kind of experienced something very similar to what we experienced against Tulsa. It was an ugly slog of a game. Now, in your initial kind of look over with the Wildcats, what do you see on the Kentucky offensive side of things?
So the offensive, the quarterback, it all starts with the quarterback, man. The quarterback he's actually a pretty good passer, can make some plays with his legs. We are going to have to stop Barry and Brown. He had a big game last week. He's super fast. I mean, he looks like a young Deshaun Jackson out there. No joke. If he catches the ball in space, he can get loose and take it to the house very quickly. I think if you look at him overall, though, I watched him quite a bit. Man, their O-line is not that great. They've given up 16 sacks in 4 games, and they haven't been playing really SEC teams like that. And I think they're only averaging 80 yards a game rushing, somewhere in there, like 2.5 a carry. So I was kind of looking at the line. I'm like, man, why they got us favored so much? Man, I think their O-line, and one thing that Northern Illinois did really well versus them is they pressure this quarterback. I like putting pressure on him. Now, he will make some throws on you. Don't get me wrong. And they have athletes to make a play. But, man, when Northern Illinois started putting pressure and really loading that box and blitzing, they got after him a little bit. They sacked him pretty good and, made a few plays on him. So, initially I think you contain this quarterback. Barron Brown's pretty good. They're going to have their running back. I think Rodriguez was his last name. And they also have Smoke, who's another. They got some capable bodies, but I don't think their O-line is that great. I mean, I think that's where we attack. Now, if we're going to line up in 3 down this week, the whole game, and their weakness is their O-line, I would be very shocked. We have got to come after this guy. We have to put him in the box a little bit. Put these guys in the box. Let's come after him. Let's blitz them, and that should be the key to success for us.
You would think that assuming he's able to go, Kari Coleman plays a big role in this game because you're right. I think pressure is critical. They gave up 5 sacks to Northern Illinois last week.
Some of these were just physical. The guys just beating the tackle, which, you look at it and you're facing a team like Northern Illinois and you're hoping that's not the case. But man, these were just defensive ends just straight up beating a tackle, making a sack. It wasn't all pressures. That to me was like, okay, I feel like our guys can get after them, especially if we're at home. We have a nice live crowd, tough for them to hear. Let's get off the ball. It's 11 a.m., sleepy eyes. Used to hate blocking in those games. And man, let's get off the ball on them and hit this quarterback a couple times and try to get a few early turnovers and get a lead.
The Kentucky offense is kind of the polar opposite of the Ole Miss offense, at least in terms of pace, right? Yep. Kentucky is going to be slow. They're 127th in plays per minute. We're 5th. So it's going to be a slow run down the clock, which is probably going to play to, some of their game plan anyway, because you don't want to give Ole Miss the ball, especially with that high-powered offense. So it's going to be just a slog. The defense is going to presumably be on the field a lot. So having some depth and rotation there, thankfully it's not going to be as hot as it was last week. So you can expect the Rebel defense to be on the field a good bit. Hopefully they'll be able to, hold the big plays that their quarterback can make, because Levis, he completes almost 80% of the passes that he throws, and he hits almost 300 yards a game. So he's going to get his, presumably, but it's about hitting him and attacking him that I think is going to be kind of the biggest factor there.
Yeah, they're pretty good on third down too. That's always if you look at me, the first thing I go to in a stat sheet is third down and turnovers. Okay, where are they at on turnovers? They're okay. They're not great there. They have given the ball up a little bit, but they're good on third down. They're 45, almost 50% on third down, and that is a really good clip. So they're going to be a solid little test for us.
For sure, and that's if there is a critique regarding the Rebel defense so far this year. What I found in some of the advanced statistics I like to kind of poke at, because a box score can't always tell you the full story about what happened. One of the biggest issues for the Rebel defense is keeping offenses off schedule. And what I mean by that is after first down, if it's second down, is it second and less than 7? Is it third or fourth down and less than 3, a very manageable distance? The Rebels they're in the bottom half of the country in keeping offenses off that schedule. So they're going to need to stop them. And then hopefully that allows them to have to drop back in these third and long type situations where you can attack that porous offensive line.
Yeah, that's almost. I mean, what's crazy is that stat is actually eye popping. That's kind of cool. You found that. That's kind of how that defense is designed. That's why I hate it. That's why I don't like the 3 down. It's like a bend, don't break, and then we'll get you when we can get you. And man, I just sometimes I get it when you're facing a really good passing team, but man, you got to. And I've said this multiple times in college. You have to pressure these quarterbacks. You look what A&M did to Alabama last year. It threw their quarterback off. They just don't have the offensive capability in college to teach all these guys. There's 100-something guys on the team to teach them all how to really do hots and sights. And they don't have enough time to teach this stuff. So you got to blitz these guys. Mm-hmm. And they're just not as complex. If you're blitzing a guy in the NFL, there's a good chance they're going to have some kind of read on every pass play that goes against almost every blitz you do that's going to give them a chance. Whereas in college, you just don't have that much time to teach that. Right. And get after their tail. Yeah, maybe they'll beat you on a man coverage. They'll beat you time, but I'm telling you, more times than not, you're going to create some turnovers by blitzing and getting after college quarterbacks. And just sitting back in that 3 down at times, it's just frustrating, man. Don't make it too easy on these guys. They're not, college quarterbacks aren't as advanced as you would think.
Yeah, and last thing that I'll end with on the Kentucky offensive side of the things, while we're talking about getting to the quarterback, I think that run defense is going to play a huge, huge role here on those early downs. That will be kind of a tone setter, I believe, for the way the Kentucky offensive drives are. So
yeah, no kidding. And I think, they run the ball physical now. Their running backs do hit it well, and their O-line's certainly capable there now. So that's going to be a test. We get after them. Let's stop that run. Let's hit the quarterback, and let's on the flip side, let's do the opposite. Let's protect our quarterback and let's establish the run. I think we will be able to run the ball, pretty well on these guys.
Yeah, it goes without saying, this is going to be the best defense that the Rebels have played so far this year. They only allow around 270 yards per game. Once again, though, of course, you have to consider the quality of opponent that they have played, but they've only allowed one passing touchdown so far this year. Yes, they've played very poor passing offenses, Florida included, but it's still something to say that you've only allowed one passing touchdown over four games.
Yeah, solid D. Watched them a little bit. I mean, they kind of mix it up. They basically want to be in a 4 down. I mean, 4 down with 2 shell, kind of playing their base. Which for us, we should be the line and run the ball. I mean, it's a little bit like Georgia Tech, but a little bit better athletes. Obviously, a lot better athletes. So I mean, yeah, I think that this is definitely a defense you can get after, but it's going to be our biggest test. Their D line looks pretty active. Nothing earth shattering, but they did definitely look pretty active. So I think all in all, they're going to mix in some 3 down. They're going to mix in some pressure as well. But if I had to guess, they're going to line up and say, "Hey, you're not running the ball on me today." So they're going to force a good SEC team is going to force Jackson Dart to freaking throw the ball to beat us for sure.
And until Jackson Dart shows that he can throw for 250, 300 yards, people are going to keep trying that, right? And I don't blame them for doing that. The one good thing, or at least I've seen from an injury perspective, one of the really good linebackers, J.J. Weaver, is not expected to play. He had 14 tackles in the first 2 games of the season before getting hurt against Youngstown State. So we should be pretty grateful that he's not going to be playing. Hopefully they can expose that. The other thing, the defense has not been very opportunistic. They have only forced 4 turnovers this year. They've only collected 6 sacks. So it's not like they are an extremely, at least from the statistics I've seen, they don't seem like an extremely aggressive defense. But, once again, the numbers elsewhere in terms of the yards they're allowing have still been pretty solid.
Yeah, no kidding. And a little bit of that is wonder both teams in general. If you look at the statistics, it's tough 4 games in, right? So I really try to study the stats versus Florida the most for them. Which you look at us as well. I mean, our rushing numbers, are we really that good at rushing, or are they inflated because who we're playing? So it's tough stats wise here. But yeah, you're right. I mean, the Florida game, Florida didn't get much on them, and they didn't get much on Florida. So. It's one of those things, man, where I think we're going to learn a little bit more about both teams, especially our team this week. And it's certainly going to be a good test for us.
For sure. And we'll have all of the reactions to the Kentucky game on Sunday. Please make sure you like and subscribe on all the methods that you find us. Remember, Brad and Chad Show sponsored by Nest and Wild Mattress, Blue Delta Jeans. I do want to spend a moment talking about Nest and Wild mattresses, right? I finally got back home from Columbus. I finally got back in my bed, a good night's sleep. I can't tell you how important that night of sleep is. So Nest and Wild mattresses, Bradley, I believe you are a customer of them. You can give me the best testimonial possible about it, right?
Yeah, it's not only my customer, I am invested as well. So, love me some Nest and Wild, man. And great value, great mattress. Being as tall as I am, big as I am, there's never the right mattress, but this one has certainly made a difference in my sleep. So, Nest and Wild's awesome. What's the code's Wild15, I think, for that one? Wild15.
15% off. And remember, Nest and Wild offers a 99 night return. So if you don't like it after 99 nights, you can return it. No questions asked. You can find them on Amazon, or you can give them a visit at nestandwild.com. So once again, I want to thank our sponsors, Blue Delta Jeans and Nest and Wild Mattresses, for bringing you the Brad and Chad Show.
Made in Mississippi too. Both of them made in Mississippi, right? Hey, we got to support our Mississippi company. So go out there and get you a mattress.
Absolutely. So let's talk a little bit about some of the other things that are happening on campus right now. I love talking about, the Rebel soccer team. They continue their unprecedented run. They beat Auburn. They played Auburn on Sunday. After we recorded, they ended up winning 1-0. This is the first time in program history that they've started 3-0 in SEC play. So congratulations to them. Mary Kate McGuire had her 6th goal. That was the difference maker in that 1-0 win against Auburn. And now we have a big match coming up on Friday. They only have one game this week. They're going to be hosting number 18 Tennessee at the Ole Miss Soccer Stadium at 7 o'clock on Friday. So if you're going to be in Oxford, already there planning for your tailgate in the Grove on Saturday, go on over to the soccer field, show them your support, because this has been a really unprecedented season in the Ole Miss soccer program so far. So if you're not able to make it, I'll be watching here from California. You can watch it on SEC Network Plus if you aren't going to be in Oxford. But if you are, please go and support them. They are doing stuff that they've never done before in this program's history. So pretty cool there, right?
That's 2 times today. Chad has clued in that he lives in California. But he is Pontotoc to the core. Do not
I'm trying to drive down viewership as much as possible. Yeah, I am an Akron, Mississippi boy at heart, but yes, I do currently live in California. So hopefully, all the likes and subscriptions are not leaving us.
Sometimes those tech jobs will take you to where you want to be, right? So
right. Yeah. So thank you for putting me on blast there, Bradley. I really see the teamwork playing out here. So that's good.
I keep saying Pontotoc, north, south. One of the Pontotocs, awesome football player. He knows more Ole Miss history than just about any.
Yes, North Pontotoc, former great athlete. Bradley's football prowess pales in comparison to mine as a North Pontotoc Viking. Yes, for sure.
Oh man, touchdowns on defense, offense, and special teams in a game. Didn't you say?
Yeah, that's true. I mean, now your check is in the mail at this point from all the phone calls that I'm going to be getting regarding this this little segment here. I did have another thing. If you remember a few years ago, the women's golf team, they won a national championship. Right. They have opened the season. The first rankings came out this year. They're number 3 in the country. After the first rankings had been sent out, they won a team and individual title 2 weeks ago. Andrea Lignell has the highest individual ranking, number 5 in the nation. So kind of, that program seems to be building a pretty solid foundation there and continuing where they left off a few years ago with that national championship.
Yeah, golf of both men's and women's have been impressive. I mean, we'll have to get Coach Malloy on here. All in all, man, considering what, not Ole Miss doesn't necessarily have the greatest golf courses in the world in Oxford, and they just go out and compete. I mean, they do fine. They work with a lot less than most programs when it comes to the coursing and stuff like that. So, kudos to both programs. They're doing awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. And hopefully we'll have some good results on Sunday in our recap show regarding some of the other teams that are going on campus right now. So, with that said, I think it's now a perfect time to transition into, our picks. Bradley, it was pretty embarrassing defeat for you this past week. I dominated you 5-2 to 4-3. It was almost laughable, and I can only imagine that it's going to happen again this upcoming week. Are you ready to just kind of do this exercise in futility, or do you feel pretty confident this week?
Well, leave it to Mississippi State to literally cost me by a point. I mean, come on, guys. Y'all can't beat Bowling Green by what is it? They can't lose to Bowling Green or beat Bowling Green by only 30. Yeah. I win by 31. Come on. You guys never would cover typically like that. But anyways. All right, what do we got first game? What you got?
All right, Alabama. They are going to Fayetteville. Ooh. They are a 17-point favorite against the Hogs. I'll go first with this one. I'm going to go ahead and set the tone, exert my dominance right off the top. Alabama, I think they are about to explode. Arkansas has a lot of injuries in the secondary, and that has been one of the weaknesses of the Alabama offense. I think this is the week that they get things clicking on all cylinders, because I don't really count last week against Vanderbilt as a kind of a difference maker. So I think Alabama is going to cover the 17 because of the injuries that Arkansas is experiencing in their secondary right now.
I'm taking Hogs at home. Give me 17 points. Hogs are going to give them the same dose of what Texas gave them. Heavy run, try to get after them. I do see your point of view, though. Hey, Alabama just seems like a big line for a game like that. Mm-hmm. But man, Arkansas is coming off a loss. I like them to, to get. I like them to get it going. And then you, being a typical Hogs fan with your hog at the house, you could dress it up in some Arkansas gear and watch the game with your hog.
I'll never support a hog in capacity. So consider me always betting against Arkansas going forward.
Big Justin, I love it. Big Justin.
Okay, now you've already badmouthed Mississippi State one time. Are you going to make it 2 for 2? So they are laying 4 points against A&M in Starkville on Saturday. Who do you like here?
Give me A&M. I'm never picking State. Just give me A&M. No, I think that it's a pretty evenly matched game. I just think A&M, man, they got a little confidence last week versus Arkansas. I think Arkansas is a better team than State. I think A&M is, the App State, the loss sucks, but I think that kind of, they don't have any room for margin. So you're going to get a focused A&M team. Jimbo's got all that freaking money out there and all those resources, and he continues to win 8 games. So, he's on it every week now. There's no room for him to slack and lose one like this. So I think they beat the Dogs.
So I do think A&M covers, but I think State wins. A&M, as bad as their offense is, they've lost their best receiver now for the season. I do not see this being a very explosive game. It's going to basically be just who wants it more from a defensive perspective, because both defenses are pretty solid. And I think that your State's going to get a 3-point victory, but they will not cover the 4 points against A&M. That's going to be my prediction there.
Gotcha.
Okay. Oh boy, poor Mizzou, man. They're catching 28 in Columbia against the Georgia Bulldogs. I cannot back Missouri. I think they're terrible. This was a very, very tough loss to Auburn this past week. And Georgia, I think it hurts Mizzou because Georgia played so poorly against Kent State.
Yep.
I think Kirby's going to have them ready to roll. I don't think this will be close after the first quarter. Missouri is not good. You got to think Eli Drinkowitz's seat is getting hot. I think Georgia wins handily.
Yeah, I'm with you there. The worst case scenario for Missouri and their goofy coach Eli was for Georgia to play a closer game with Kent State. Kirby was all on those boys' tails. They'll be up 28 in the first quarter.
Yep. All right, we got a rock fight on the Plains. LSU is going to be laying 8.5 points at Auburn. Auburn coming off their win against Missouri, an ugly win. LSU, I believe they shut out New Mexico 38-0 in Death Valley last week. What do you like here, LSU and Auburn?
Well, I think Auburn is equally as bad as Missouri. I mean, they're at home and really should have lost that game to Missouri. I think LSU covers. I think they get on there. I think they beat them. I think they beat them pretty good too. LSU, they obviously took care of State earlier in the year. I just think they're better, more athletic than Auburn. I think Auburn's just a really bad team as well, to be honest with you. And I think LSU beats them by a couple touchdowns.
Yeah, absolutely. I think I think Auburn is a really, really bad team, but not so fast, my friend. I think they win outright against LSU this weekend. Here's why. This game's always close. I don't think the LSU offense is very good. Auburn has either won or played within 4 points the last 6 years in this matchup. So it's going to be ugly. It is going to be low scoring, but Auburn is going to come away with the win. Weird things happen at Auburn, and that is going to be no exception this weekend.
There we go. Hey, I like it. I trust me. It's tough to pick. It's tough to pick those games right now. So early knowing how these teams are, but I don't know, man. If Auburn can't beat Missouri, or if Auburn can't win more than that, I mean, they really lost that game in my mind. Missouri gave it to them, but
yes, correct.
Man, I don't think LSU's not great, but they ain't that bad.
They're not. Their defense is really, really good. Really, really
yeah.
Good.
They ain't that bad. I don't think.
Okay, last game, the one that we've been waiting for. This is the one that we kind of get a sense of who the Rebels are. Vegas likes the Rebels. They've been creeping up near 7. I've got them at 6.5 at the latest lines. Remember, if you've got complaints about the lines we're giving at Nick Weaver BDJ on Twitter, if you've got any complaints, send them that way. But Ole Miss, at least right now, is laying 6.5 points at home, 11 a.m. game against Kentucky. Bradley, I will give you the microphone. Go ahead.
Yeah, so I like Ole Miss. I like Kentucky in this one, but I like Ole Miss to win. I like it to be a 3-point game somewhere in there. This is a very evenly matched game. Mm-hmm. So obviously Vegas sees something that we don't. My only hang up on this is hey, it's 11 a.m. road team. Ole Miss is going to be fired up. That they have a reason to be hungry because you didn't finish Tulsa, so there was no chilling and feeling good about themselves all week. They were working hard this week for sure. It would not shock me if Ole Miss didn't get after him and beat him pretty good. But at the end of the day, man, it's first SEC game. We really don't know what we have. I think we win, but I think it's a nail biter. I think it's going to be a lot like that Arkansas game last year. Not as high scoring, but very much so back and forth. I'm taking Kentucky on the spread, but I think Ole Miss wins by 3. I got Ole Miss 27, Kentucky 24.
Okay. I think the vault is going to be locked on Saturday. There's been a lot going on about the crowd. It's a sold-out game. Oxford's going to be rocking. We're going to show Kentucky what a pretty rowdy environment's going to look like. This is also the home opener, the SEC opener for the Rebels. Kentucky's already played an SEC game, so I think there's going to be a little bit more, energy, I think, with the team. I'm going to take the Rebels by 10. So they're going to cover. They're going to win 27-17, 1-0 start, going into Vanderbilt the following week. That's going to be the prediction. That's how it's going to happen. So, if you don't even need to watch the game at this point, considering the prediction that I just laid out in front of you. So you're welcome to everyone out there.
We got some good differences this week. We got a few oppos here. I like it.
Yeah, I think we got 4 opposites. Georgia, we have no faith in Missouri, which I don't think anybody does, not even Missouri fans. So I think we're all good there.
Oh, I love it. Well, hey, man, it's going to be a great weekend. We'll get out there. It'll be first SEC game. It's supposed to be nice weather. Should be a good battle, man. It's going to be fun to get back here after the game and, see how we did. I mean, this is what it's all about right here. Top 15 matchup, SEC, I think Nation or whatever SEC now is going to be there. So big weekend in Oxford, man. Get out there, get loud, and let's have some fun.
Yeah, Rebels are going to be 5-0. Dolphins are going to be 4-0 after Thursday night. It's going to be a great weekend to be a Rebel fan, man.
Dude, your Dolphins are doing good. They are a impressive team. I mean, they made the Bills OC almost, make a fool of themselves.
Yeah, Ken Dorsey almost killed somebody.
I love it, man.
And your Bears are still a team. They still do things.
They're a team. That's about all we can say at this moment.
All right. Well, once again, thank you for listening to the Brad and Chad Show. Make sure you like and subscribe wherever you listen to the Brad and Chad Show. YouTube, Apple Podcasts. We're also starting to put out TikTok videos as well, little snippets from our shows. Check us out there. Bradley, good luck on your softball this weekend. Hotty toddy, my friend.
Yep. See you, Chad. Hotty toddy, man.
All right, buddy.
Thanks for listening to the Brad and Chad Show. Follow the boys on social media for more content. And don't forget to like and subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts. This has been an Ole Miss Network production brought to you by Blue Delta Jeans, made in the USA.